Okay, so I have a couple of slides, not too long. I want to tell you a little bit some of the successes that we've seen as a software maker in supporting companies. One specific interesting result that I'd like to start with right away is a reduction of product development time by 50% by one of the small startup companies that we are supporting through our software because they use the software. A reduction of from reducing from 3 years to 1 year with regards to getting funding, because that company was able to use visualization technologies and simulation technologies to provide proof of concepts that allow them to pitch successfully to venture capital firms. So Autodesk is a software maker. We are a 30-year-old company. We make this software for 3D design, engineering, as well as entertainment software. But we also have put up a very strong commitment towards providing the best possible tools that enable our customers to create a better world. So our customers include architects, designers, engineers, in the manufacturing space, in architecture, construction, infrastructure, city planning, and as I said, in entertainment business as well. We as a company have a very small carbon footprint because we are a maker of software. We don't have large manufacturing plants. But through our tools, through our products, we can give our customers worldwide, 10 million of users, the best opportunity to create products that really have an impact on the world. And so for us, sustainability is an important part that we want to accomplish through our products of about 110 different products in our product portfolio. Design is an important part for all of our customers, so the creation of innovation and inventions, really. Not everyone is a designer in the traditional sense, but we all look into solving problems. If you look at Cleantech sectors, these ones are all the various sectors that we are covering through our products with our customers, whether that's small startup or large companies. So it ranges from building materials to renewables to waste and water management. So a very broad field of companies that we have covered. I'd like to illustrate a little bit the whole process of coming to an innovation through a story of the wind energy. Right? So if we go back in time, way before actually we used cars and have smart grids, wind was always looked at as an opportunity to harvest that power that comes from wind. And you can go back to 900 AD, when the first designs, at least the ones that we have records of, from Persia, show something that used wind in order to extract water, so sort of a water pump. Plus, of course, sail power is maybe probably even earlier than 900 AD. But the very first megawatt-capable wind generator was generated in 1941 by an inventor called Smith Putman, and installed actually in Vermont in the US. It was rather large. It had 2 blades made of steel, and it only lasted about for 1,100 hours of use. The blades simply snapped. They couldn't make it. Now, the reason why the development into this stopped is because during the Second World War, the materials were short and there was no further investment. The investment that this inventor put into this was about $1 million. So inflation adjusted, that's probably about $50 million today for 1 megawatt. So, and then it stopped there. So it is a very clear-cut case on how important it actually is to be able to simulate your concepts way before you create it. And that's what's possible today. So, I mean, windmills started in Western Europe about in the 13th or 14th century. And then from where we are today, there is a tremendous amount of steps that went from this innovation to where we are today with innovation, really. And it's really a matter of how can I replace the materials that we used last year to further enhance the output of that of that wind power generator. How can we ensure that it lasts for a long time and longer than just 1,100 hours? How can I increase the efficiency rate? So these ones are all sort of the important questions that designers will ask. And actually, when we talk to customers that join our program, we often ask them, well, have you considered what your 3.0 version looks like? Or do you have the right tools in place that enable you to already think and plan ahead when it comes to that point to evolutionize and change and modify and optimize your designs? So it's, you know, with wind, it's always a matter of cost and possible profits that you want to gain out of the innovation, as well as the technical invention and development that happens there. Today, all of the customers that we work with, they have all the same challenges. The challenges is about having a limited amount of people, being able with a small amount of budget to develop a proof of concept. So, for example, when you look at wind, how thick does a material wall need to be in order to sustain more than 1,100 hours of wind turbine use? Being able to identify this through simulation tools is a huge improvement, because it enables you to save on material just as much as necessary in order to create a product that is actually useful. And for that, so the way we actually go and support customers are through a Cleantech program. We call it the Autodesk Cleantech Partner Program. Startups and entrepreneurs can apply to join this program for $50 US. They receive up to $150,000 worth of software. The program is started in 2009 in the US, has since then moved into Europe, Israel, Japan, Singapore here, as well as 2 weeks ago in Australia and New Zealand as well. We have that program running. We have about thousands of customers already in the program that use our tools. And what they can really do with these tools, and to stick with the wind turbine, is a number of things. So if you look at a turbine like this, you want to, for example, understand what is the natural frequency of the column where the turbine sits on. So you can go and use the simulation tools to identify this. You can do heat analysis for the braking system to understand at what point does it break, at what point can it no longer sustain the powers that go through this. You can do stress analysis, finite element analysis. All these are very important tools that our customers use and also need in order to move forward. And couple this with what we call Industrial Revolution 2.0. If you look at 3D printing, you can do so many different types of materials today with additive processing or manufacturing, just as rubber, plastics, as well even metal and jewelry is now available. We have a company that printed an entire car that is, it's a one-seater, but it is a product in California that company is actually using in industrial scale 3D printing machines of this size to actually make and manufacture this product rather than having it done through regular molding processes. Being able to sustain and change dramatically in their cost effectiveness of manufacturing. A couple of examples, small company out of Hokkaido who's doing small micro wind turbines for individual households. They were the ones who actually were able to reduce their product development time by 50%, much to the delight of their investors. Another company, a German company called Timberda Tower, they've been able to identify using wood rather than steel or metals to build wind turbines that enabled them much faster and much easier to transport large wind turbines, especially with the restrictions of 4.2 meters in Germany on highways. That was a big improvement and a big solution. They used our tools to understand the thickness of the wood that is required in order to be able to make these working products, really. Another company, the Swedish company, these are 480-meter wide hexagonal shapes, floating wind turbines. Again, this is something that you cannot really prototype physically. If you do this once and you make a mistake, well, you're pretty much out of business. So doing these simulations in a digital environment, doing them in bits rather than in atoms, is a very big help for these companies as well. And then finally, staying with wind, again, a German company who realized that at about 500 meters height, the wind speeds are a lot more consistent than at the level that their currently wind turbines are, so 80% versus 35% consistency. So they came up with the idea of having kite-enabled harvesting of wind powers at 500 meters height, and they've been using our tools to simulate these solutions and visualize them. So that's, in a nutshell, we have a very strong commitment. We believe that anybody should have the ability to access software that is powerful and that enables innovators today to bring an idea from invention to really commercial success. So as I said, from invention to innovation, we are supporting entrepreneurship through this program, and we work with actually quite a few companies worldwide, investors as well as small startups, thousands of companies that have joined this program since in inception in 2009. And our interest is really to ensure that these companies, hopefully using these tools, are enabled and empowered to become commercially successful as well. If you want to find out more, we have, this is the local website here in Singapore.com.sg, autodesk.com.sg/cleantech. A lot of information that you can find there about the program, as well as a number of these customer stories that I showed you, and a number of others that I haven't had the time to show today. And that's pretty much my presentation. Thank you very much. We have a booth here right next to the coffee stand if you need to get your chop for whatever price that they have here. You please come, but hopefully you're also interested in the program, and we have brochures and other materials there as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jake. If I remember it correctly from last year, people can sign up FOC to use some of the tools, or how does it work?
Yeah, so anybody...
Maybe you're speaking to the microphone.
That's right,
yes.
Essentially what you do, if you are interested, you go to the website autodesk.com/cleantech, and there's an application form. So you basically apply through that form if you're applicable, or if you know somebody in your portfolio who would be able to use this software. And then one of our business development managers in the regions will go and contact that company and qualify it. So we have, as we said, we want to do this as it's a startup entrepreneur kickoff or kickstart sort of program, and that's how it's also positioned. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, for the startups, everything helps, whatever type of support it is. So thanks for that contribution.
Predominantly, what happens is when somebody signs up for this program, we actually connect them with those partners on the ground who are able to provide them as well with other services, whether that's support for the software or training, hardware. So that's specifically through our partners. Through the program, what we have done is, events like this. We have supported, for example, Cleantech Open competitions worldwide. We've been at the Palm Springs Cleantech Investors Conference, and we invited actually we make a selection. Some of these customers, they actually come, and we give them a booth at these exhibitions, so they have an opportunity to actually go and meet investors. And generally what we are trying to do as well is create events. Actually, if you happen to be in Japan next week, on the 24th, we have a networking event in Tokyo. And we bring in VCs as well as our companies, our customers that are in this market, to see if there's a link up. So there's an opportunity to network and exchange. So there's a couple of things that we do besides just software. I mean, we hope, for our most important thing is we don't just want to go and drop software and disappear. We want to make sure that it's also being used successfully.